broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
We should have had celebratory Mai Tais on the table or something.
We should have.
That would have been a great idea.
And Mary Lou should have been responsible for that.
I don't know if we should
and
really
tropical.
celebrate this episode because it was kind of
depressing.
It was, but nonetheless, welcome everyone. We are here for the season finale of Bloodline right here on AfterBuzz TV.
I cannot believe it. I cannot believe it.
It's shocking.
Can I tell you I just cannot believe it?
One more time.
Okay, I cannot believe it.
It is truly shocking. We can't believe we've made it through the whole season. We're the only people left in the world who took it week by week.
And listen, now we can rejoin society.
Oh my gosh,
There's no more
exactly.
spoilers.
I don't have to avoid coworkers because I didn't binge watch it in one weekend.
Yeah.
Nope.
And go back to normal.
We are on board. We know what's up. We know what's up with this. You can find us, of course, on YouTube, always at youtube.com/AfterBuzzTV. And for all of your listening pleasures on SoundCloud and iTunes. And first and foremost, a big up to our producer in the booth right now. Huge shout out to Marissa Serafini. Thank you, Marissa.
Thanks, Marissa.
Thank you, ladies.
We're all burning the midnight oil.
We are.
Thanks to her.
We are.
I'm excited to hear your finale.
That's her saying, get on with it.
Hurry it up, ladies. All right. With that being said, feel free to interact with us. #ABTV Bloodline.
Sure.
We'd love to hear from you. We always want to hear all of your thoughts and feelings, and we'd love for you to chime in. In fact, we love it so much that we want you to head over to podcast1.com because there is a very special listener survey waiting for you. It's there that you can share all your thoughts, let us know exactly what you like, what you don't like, everything that we need to know so we can hone in on your interests and make these shows excellent for you. So head on over to podcast1.com. The survey will take you just about 3 minutes, very quick.
Faster if you're super, super slick on the keys.
That's right.
On the keys. Did you see what I did there?
Slick on the keys.
The Keys Ninja.
Keys.
No, the keys.
Florida.
Key West.
Key West.
Of course.
Oh, okay.
On board. We're on board.
I was like,
we're all on board with you.
Oh, you get Danny's.
clearly it's late.
You can also be a ninja in the Keys, I'm sure.
and
They
as well as
exist.
in the Mafia.
Yeah. So if you are a Keys Ninja or otherwise, head on over to podcast.com. Podcast1.com. Take a gander at this survey. It's going to be fantastic. It'll help us. It'll help you. Keep those tweets and comments coming. We love it.
Yeah.
On that note,
And I'm on the chat if you're watching.
tune in, join,
Yeah.
kick this off right. That's right. I'm your host, Blake V. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Blake V Media.
I'm Alison Dean. You can find me everywhere on the social cloud at the Alison Dean.
Hi, guys. I'm Kate Aquillano. You can find me at Kate Aquillano.
And I'm Marielou Mandl. You can do the same on all social media, everywhere, on the internet.
Everywhere on the internet.
At Marielou Mandl.
Everywhere on the internet.
Let's kick it
There
off.
we have it, ladies. Oh man, this finale. I feel
Like we need therapy.
like my heart, I'm longing for season 2 already. Like I can't even take just everything that happened.
As messed up as season 1 was, I feel like season 2 is just going to be even worse.
Yeah. Yes.
Because now they have to deal with the whole...
It's the aftermath.
You already had the guilt of, the father and the lying. Now you actually have the guilt of killing your own brother.
You know what's interesting is, in retrospect to how John was saying the whole season, we've done a bad thing. I'm like, no, you didn't. You did, many bad things. It wasn't, let's not narrow it down to one.
just one.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
We
Very
did
true.
a plethora.
You're really being easy on
I
yourself.
know. I was like, wait a minute. Now that I'm
just
thinking
one.
about this. Anyway.
Yeah, but this is usually, we don't watch the episodes right before we tape, and this time we did, and I'm still really stressed about it. Usually I have a buffer of my drive over.
Yep.
Where I can kind of process it. I'm like, oh man, that was lame.
Yep.
Great episode, but I feel bad for this family.
Right.
But now I'm really messed up, and then especially after our last, when we covered episode 12, we got the information that they actually pitched 6 seasons of this. So I was like, man, what do these crazy writers and producers have in mind?
I can't wait to find out.
I know. I can't even fathom the amount of storyline that they had in the beginning, and just coming through, developing all of it. It just seems like such a feat. It's amazing. Yes. So this episode closes it off for us. Some crazy things happened. Some questions got answered. Some new things arose that we don't even know what's going on with. One of the things that I liked from this episode that I'd like to kick it off with, and also kind of close the episode, is the fact that all of the narrations that we've heard from every single episode that John has given us, typically John, in the beginning of all of these episodes, was closed. It was completely bookended at the very end when he was at his dinner, his potential sheriff job placement dinner. And we've come to find that the whole entire speech he gives at the dinner is what they sprinkled along all season.
And it was all lies. I mean, somewhat truth, but he's like, if I don't know where my brother is right now, but I hope he knows I love him. Oh, like, come on.
Didn't that just squeeze your heart?
I'm just like, how can, I mean, he's trying to be sheriff, so he has to put on
Keep
this
up the
front.
appearance.
Exactly.
I know.
But it's like, that's going to be really hard to live with yourself, buddy.
Yeah, just saying those words.
It's just lies on top of lies on top of lies.
And what all of this kind of taught me is that because we have now Mama Rayburn's trying to figure out, she's like trying to redeem herself by talking to Potts, right? Is that his name, Potts?
Yes.
Lenny Potts.
Lenny Potts. So she's trying to redeem herself talking to him, but then I'm thinking, like, they all know how to lie like this because she made them lie.
Yeah.
Like, it all started with her, and now they're all effed up.
Yeah, I didn't, when Danny had that freak out on her in last episode, like, obviously you didn't stick up for him. You were his mom. You were supposed to protect him. But I'm like, wow, you really don't like your mom. It's because I think he knew that what we find out in this episode, that she was the one that said, lie to the detectives.
Yeah, and that was big. That was a big
your
reveal.
Mom.
Yep.
So I didn't see that coming. I got
didn't either.
that he felt betrayed, that he never felt safe in the house. But this is like a direct, like, you are a big reason why this is happening. And she's a big reason why Sarah died. I said that in the beginning, like, it all comes back to Mama Rayburn.
It does, and it's interesting because is it coming from a place of just, like, fragility, or just the fact that she really can't take the pressures in life and just things that are happening to her, or is it very calculated? Like, is she really trying to be conniving and make all these things happen?
That's why her character's so great, because you don't really know.
You don't know.
Is she just that
at
naive, or is she just playing everyone?
Yeah.
Oh. Ooh.
Yeah. Because she's very her character lends to the idea of just her being kind of an airheady, kind of just
she's aloof. She doesn't
flighty,
deal with anything.
just kind of a lady of leisure who's just doesn't really have to hold true to anything she says or does. She just has this family and this inn and this money, and had the husband that took care of things for the majority of her life. Mm-hmm. So she comes across as that, but I feel like she is a woman of more depth. I feel like we may find that there is something a little more negative or sinister or calculating, perhaps, about her, and may tie into the whole reason of Danny's issue with her and the family as a whole.
Yeah, I do think it's setting us up very well for season 2, especially with how things were left off between the conversation she was having with Lenny Potts at the end.
Yes.
So I think that her reaction, which we'll hopefully see next season, I think that's going to reveal some stuff.
Let's talk about that when he goes, your kids are lying to you.
Yeah.
I think obviously the writers and producers and creators wanted to make it seem like they're lying about the way Danny died. I don't think it is anything like that. I think it's probably something minimal about some random occurrence. How would Lenny Potts have any idea?
He is a detective. He's a serious
But I think it was just
of...
for an impact for next season. That's just my thing.
Yeah,
Could
I'm with
be.
you. I don't think that it's about John and his cover-up, because how skilled was he? Like, I don't know.
But then I wonder what it is.
Yeah.
Like, if it's not that, I wonder what it is that he, as a detective, would have been able to find out that they were lying to her.
Yeah, and has he been, like, working the case this whole time? Like, he was in town for a weekend.
Yeah.
What could he have found out? No.
Well,
because
I guess you got to figure that John asked him for his advice and kind of made him privy to the situation and what was going on. And who knows, he might have had lifelong guilt from what happened to them as kids. He kind of talks about it being like, oh, I should have done more, I should have tried more. So maybe he has been on all of this, and maybe he's been on Danny all of these years,
Right.
and maybe he knows far more than anybody knows about anything.
True. Could be.
Yeah.
be.
Like, I mean, the lie is probably like, oh, you've got a grandson.
Right.
Yeah, but I don't think that that's ever been something, or, you know, we didn't get any context that that was something that Danny was denying during the season. So I don't know if that would be, I don't think he would have framed it like your kids have been lying to you. Your kids may
Right.
have been withholding information. But then again, we don't even know if they knew about Danny's son.
Right, I think nobody did.
I don't think they did.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't think that's it.
Let's talk about him.
Yeah, let's do it. This is the finale, ladies. Let's just get right
Oh my
into what we
God,
want to
you
say.
guys, he's gonna cause so much trouble in season 2. He saw John and Kevin go into Danny's apartment, trash it, leave the drugs.
Well, technically, he doesn't know what they did within the apartment.
He saw them bring in suitcases. You have to infer that he saw.
Do
the
we
whole
know that
thing.
he saw the whole thing, or do we know that he arrived at the tail end when they were
Saw them
leaving?
leaving.
I think he saw the whole thing.
Because that's also one of those question marks, I think.
Yes.
You know, they purposely
How
edited
much
that.
did he see?
Right. Yeah. I mean, he definitely saw them leaving the apartment, but is it possible that he could have thought they entered the apartment and the apartment already looked like that with the piles of money, whatever? I mean,
the
Because he
of
went in
drugs.
right afterwards.
yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Danny Jr. went in right afterwards.
Yep.
And opened up all that stuff.
I mean, I think that's a potential for season 2 to like knock open the whole like case again.
Yep.
Right, because
Do
now they're
we
going to have to kill
think-
this kid.
Right.
Ooh.
Let's not
Dang,
get crazy.
I know.
Let's not get crazy.
getting
Let's
insane.
not get Rayburn on them, okay?
Now, do we think that Danny Jr. was living in that apartment?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Okay,
either.
so we think that this was like his journey to find his dad, and he like happened upon the apartment at that time.
I think maybe they were still in contact. I think he was sending the money to him and he was supposed to go and get it, maybe? I don't know.
See, that's what leads me to believe. I feel like maybe he was living there.
Yeah, but if he was living there, I think all those envelopes would have already been opened. I would think.
Yeah.
Because you wouldn't
Yeah, I
leave
guess
you wouldn't
so.
leave envelopes like that fully sealed.
from your dad. Or
Right.
whatever.
Yeah, I don't know what their relationship was, but
Yeah, that's going to be interesting to find out what the true use of that apartment was.
I mean, they had to be somewhat in contact. He had a Rayburn House t-shirt on.
Yeah.
So it's like he knew his dad's history. He somehow got a Rayburn House in whatever it is t-shirt. He knew his brother's names.
Right. You're exactly right. Yeah, he knew a lot of the history. Did we know who was bringing in the mail for him? Was it the landlord?
Yeah.
That was bringing it in? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's interesting too. Like, why, if Danny was living in that apartment, why was he sending a whole bunch of money back to himself? Was it like for safekeeping? Like his own savings account? He can't open
Well,
a legit
remember
savings
one of the
account.
times he writes like more is coming. So I think
Right.
he's sending it to his son.
Right, if
But
there
maybe
was-
his son was aloof and was like, you know, he just travels here and there and stops
so
in.
many holes.
Stops in
Yeah.
every once in a while.
Okay.
Because it could have been a situation like if Danny calls like the boy's mom and says, "Hey, send Danny Jr. to the house. There's stuff
Right.
for him there."
Right.
And then he's like, "No, I hate my dad. I got piercings on my lips."
We had to call those out. Come on. Of course, Danny's child has those.
Of course.
Of course.
And he had that
probably-
big Danny
I have
floppy
one.
hair.
It was good. It was good. I respected that.
Allison wanted to put her hands in it.
No, that was Alec.
That was Alec.
That was Alec. Let's be real.
I was just adding on.
I was like, let's be real.
There was some good hair in this episode.
Yeah, it was
like
good hair.
during,
Some good
during
hair.
this episode,
It's a good hair episode.
Allison says Marco's hot.
He was.
Alec,
He looked
Alec
good. He
hot.
looked good.
And Meg was hot.
Meg looked great
Yeah,
in her New York
she did.
scene. I mean, she sauced it up. Yeah. Like, no more wedges for her. It was
She's
all.
in the big bad city.
Oh, yeah.
and
Yeah,
tights.
Saucy black
Yeah.
hose.
Ensemble.
Yeah, no. I approved. Hottie
Yeah.
McHottiness all
Yes.
through the ep. Yeah.
Right,
Yes.
and I do. I mean, I think it's a really interesting setup that they've got because John says, "You guys move on to your life to Meg and to Kevin.
Yep.
We got to move on with our life." So we see scenes where they do move on, and they both seem real happy. So it tells me things are gonna hit the fan.
Yeah.
It makes me think that John is the one that's going to become the troublemaker. And not maybe because he wants to be, but just that he can't handle probably the stress of being the sheriff and the guilt of this and still trying to be like the man of the Rayburn family. But he's
And Danny
probably
Jr.
and Danny
Right.
Jr., he's probably going to be the one, like, initiating the problems.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that guilt and that pressure would be, you couldn't live that way. I feel like a person could not live that way. It's going to be very interesting to see how they have him handle it.
Although, you know, obviously he's lived with a huge lie for all of his life up until, you know, these moments where finally he's conversing with Danny, or he was conversing with Danny about the cover-up and how he, you know, how he lied. So clearly he is capable of, you know, hanging on to a secret.
However,
that was...
this time it's dealing with death
It's another level.
in his own hands.
Yeah, however, Danny was throwing it in his face the entire time he was back. You should have been on the boat. So it was almost as though
also death.
he was putting some layer of part of this is on you kind of a thing. So, yeah, I don't know. We could argue both sides.
But it was interesting to see Kevin move on. Belle's pregnant. They seem like they're doing just fine back in the house together.
And I didn't remember this. Is the reason that they broke up with, or like things went downhill, was because they could not get pregnant, right?
Yes.
Well, I think also because he was nuts.
I thought it was more so that. Yeah.
Anger.
A lot of their
Yeah.
problems started because they couldn't have kids.
Like the reason he got a little nuts.
Yeah, like that's where they obviously had other problems, but
Right. I feel like I did not make that strong of a connection to that particular issue.
Right.
he talks a lot about having a son in the beginning episodes, or like wanting to have a son.
Interesting. Well, there we have it.
And maybe Megan Alec will also have a son.
I feel bad for Marco.
There we go.
I loved Marco.
Poor Marco.
We never know. Who knows what's going to happen?
Yeah.
Who knows?
It is up in the air.
Yes.
I was always Team Marco.
Well, then there's another fun Alison Dean moment while we were screening. She's like, "Marco, stop being nice." Or was that that was you?
Yeah, I was like, I didn't say that.
It was a Kate Aquillano
Kate
moment. I love Marco. Shut your face.
No, well, he was like attacking her in the car.
Yeah.
And I was like,
I
Marco.
loved that scene though. Meg, like, I was like, yes,
She cracked.
get off of me.
I mean, how would you react if like your detective boyfriend / ex-fiance is interrogating you and your dead brother's body is in your trunk?
Yeah.
Meg had to deal with a whole bunch of stuff with her brother in the trunk. Like, she had to be, it was like coming home from the hospital, the cop, the boyfriend, like just all the things
Oh my God, the
were
cop
thrown at her.
The cop scene when she got pulled over was super creepy. The fact that she was standing in the rain and just dazed and confused. It was creepy. Like,
and then she got out of the car and the cop was like, "That's cool, stay right there."
right.
Like,
You
no.
should never get out of the car.
Yeah, you-
No,
yeah.
and I feel like a cop would not allow that. Like a cop,
they wouldn't. They would be
yell at
very
you and make
angry.
you get back in, or I don't know, arrest you or something.
Right.
But they wouldn't just be like, "That's cool, stay right there."
I think because she's a Rayburn. The Rayburn name.
Do you think that
he knew about her brother.
brother?
Yeah.
Or I think he must have, when he looked her up, there must have been some kind of a flag on the family or something. Because certainly
Yeah.
he was much more gracious after he had went and entered in all of her information.
Yeah.
I'm sure that it was connected back to
I've
him.
never been pulled over by such a friendly officer.
Well,
That's for sure.
He wasn't friendly at first. I mean, he definitely was. I think he was being coppy.
I don't
that
know.
a word?
Oh, the overall,
It is now.
The overall scenario was very
Relaxed?
uncoppy.
Oh,
Yes,
really?
It was very relaxed, I think.
Oh, okay.
It's very
I
stressful
think.
for me, though.
For her, yeah, for those that knew what was going on, but let's say she didn't have her dead brother in her trunk. I think it was a reasonable exchange
Amount
with
of copy?
Yeah.
What do you think? What do you think about the thumping that was happening in the trunk that she was hearing? Do you think that was just her going over a bump and his body like slamming against
Yeah.
the hood?
Yeah, it reminded me of
Well, not the hood, the trunk top,
the trunk lid.
trunk lid. Yeah, whatever.
It reminded me of the Edgar Allan Poe.
Oh, God.
The
poem.
Telltale Heart.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes. Right. Where like nothing's happening, but the person is slowly losing their mind and they're hallucinating all of this craziness that's happening. It made me think that that's what was happening. Not in that moment. I will say that when I watched it, I did think that he was like
He came
banging
too.
on it. Yeah. He came too.
He's back from the dead.
But then afterwards, you know, as things went on, that's the first thing that popped in my head. Like that had to be what it was. I don't think it was issues with her car. I mean, unless it could have been the fact that her tire tread was low, but it wouldn't cause something like that, I don't think.
Well,
in any
yeah,
case,
yeah.
in any case,
Creepy.
I feel like, there was
Anyone
there was
would
some
have
manic.
those kind of thoughts, I feel like, if you're going through that situation.
Yeah.
Right. Yep. I
Absolutely.
concur.
I liked the moment when John and the two younger siblings are sitting and talking, and they're like, "What should we have done?" And maybe that was a separate scene. More when John was saying, "I never told you guys that I love you,"
I love you.
and then you really see like they're gonna do whatever he says.
Yeah. You know,
And it's genuine.
It's a weird dynamic.
It is, and kind of like opening this this can of worms now based on that. The intro scenario where he did what he did to Danny, and then afterwards he starts having these chest pains.
Right.
So he calls Meg, and of course she comes to the rescue. She's there to help him and takes him to the hospital, drops him, does not stay there because of what she has in her car.
No, she didn't have him in the car yet.
Oh, okay.
But she knew that Danny was still there.
Right. And that any sort of speaking paperwork, whatever it is, would give him up anyways. Like she couldn't really say much to the hospital because all those questions would be
Yeah,
there.
right.
Where were
I think
you? What
she was just
happened?
worried about the body.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Oh, and then again with that, why didn't it float away?
I think it was I don't think it was like a low tide, shallow, lagoony thing. So it wasn't like there was current really passing through. It was like sitting I don't know. I didn't there wasn't like an ocean body around it. It was
a
definitely
bay. They say South Bay when it's the meeting place.
Yeah, so a bay is pretty relaxed.
It is.
In my knowledge of bays. I don't know what my knowledge of bays
Alison,
is.
the Bay expert.
Sitting on the dock of the bay.
Seems pretty relaxing.
Relaxing.
Yeah.
Relaxing.
Very low key, low tide.
Yeah. Right? Thank you.
Very
I'm with you.
scientific of us.
It is.
Gotcha.
It is.
I'll be here for another 30 minutes. Yeah.
Music will guide your life.
Yeah, there you
Look
are.
at that. Yes. So he's in the hospital recovering from his chest pains, his issues. And then how the family trickles in was interesting to me. Like Mama Rayburn got a call, and then like Kevin comes in.
He is a Rayburn.
At various points, trying to keep her away and things, and like trying to get information from John, even though he's
Totally
completely
sedated.
incapacitated.
Yeah.
So that was really interesting to me, kind of just how all of these moving parts that were trying to avoid one another in this sketchiest way, while John could finally do nothing. He was orchestrating this whole thing, and then he was finally at a moment where he couldn't do anything, and all these other people were like left to their own accord
Because he's always
to figure it out.
He's always moving the pieces. He's always in charge.
Yeah. Yeah.
I had a question, actually. In the hospital, when he took Danny's phone, okay, so he was trying to make a call. He was trying to call Meg or Kevin
Yeah.
or something. His phone was dead. So then he takes Danny's phone because he snatched it from Danny's pocket.
Right.
He then called Meg.
Yes.
And then my thought was, okay, so even though he's planting this whole scenario of what Danny did or where he was, that particular call didn't make any sense to me, because that to me was something that he couldn't have hidden. Like, why? Because the phone records, for example, if the cops had come back and taken his phone,
I don't think they had
why would he
figured
be
out the
calling
scenario
Meg?
yet. So, but even
But
in
wasn't
this,
John thinking ahead? I mean, he
I
just
think
killed his brother.
He didn't have the whole scenario.
No, I don't think
planned
so
out
either.
Yet, not until they had that later meeting. But even if Danny called Meg at that point, he's still alive for the night. Like
Yeah.
he's in like the scenario, the plan
But I
scenario.
feel like forensics would be able to tell, like, point of death, like time of death, when he died, and then when they go back and look at the phone records,
I watch
and
a
it's
lot
been
of cop shows.
It's been
Water
done.
messes with a lot of that stuff.
Really?
Because it messes with the, I don't know what the
It deteriorates
duration-
the evidence.
Yeah,
and-
because you don't decompose as
Yeah.
much in the water, or you do a lot because of like sea life that's gross. Sorry, but like it messes
or
with
even
the timeline.
Salt, probably the salt
there's
levels in the water.
I mean, they could probably figure it out, but it
I
messes
feel like
with
they
it a little bit.
could. Especially because they found him so soon after it happened. It's not like he'd been chilling in the water for
He's been chilling in the water for a month.
Well, okay, I guess.
he was burned.
Did they find out any time of death on the girls that they brought in?
I think they have like a range.
No, I think they had arranged. Yeah.
Okay.
I do.
Not-
I think they had
okay.
arranged.
Like not
So
exact.
because that one stood out in my mind. I was like, if you I thought it was a sketchy
Abby
move
Shudo
on
from
John's part.
NCIS was on this case, she'd find out.
Here's what I thought was sketchy. I thought that, especially because he has the job that he does, John, the fact that he was using Danny's phone, my mind was going towards, voice recording. So if for whatever reason they go back and they listen to records of calls that Danny made prior to his death, they're not going to hear Danny on the line.
But they weren't tapping Danny's phone.
But if they get the records for...
You won't get the audio unless it's tapped. You'll just get phone numbers and like a time amount.
See, I don't believe that. I feel like they can get anything that they want nowadays.
No, you can't just like...
We got enough satellites in space now.
Kate called Allison at this time for 10 minutes.
When she was dead.
I know, right. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. That one was kind of
my mind was going there. Okay.
Right.
All right.
Also, random thought. John had cell phones in the hospital. Aren't you not supposed to have cell phones in a hospital?
You would pick up on that.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. Like,
they definitely don't work in hospitals, that's for sure.
Well, I mean, they checked him in.
Would they have like what he came in with, and then they have a list of like
just available
in a bag,
phone and a old janky flip phone.
No, they don't take a. It's not like they're checking into prison. They don't like make a list of your belongings.
But I mean, do they just like sit it right next to you, real nice, like after they've done your treatments and things?
Well, he was never completely unconscious in the beginning. They put him on a sedative,
right? Because he wanted to leave.
He probably put all of his stuff in a nice pile.
Call Dr. Henry Morgan. He'll know.
It was definitely dramatic when Kevin and Meg were trying to figure out what they had to do. You know, when they were orchestrating what the plan of attack was going to be. With
do we move him? Do we not?
And really, it was only until they saw people coming that suddenly they reacted with, "We got to put him in the trunk," because they were totally just going to leave him chilling there.
And you know what? Prior to John even doing that to Danny, prior to him even killing Danny, I totally did not understand when the moment came up that Marco told John that had they found the drugs in the shed, that would have been like, they could have pinned Danny with the whole drug thing had they found the drugs in the shed.
Yep.
Yeah. Why wasn't John pissed at Meg and Kevin for moving it then at that point? Because it was Meg and Kevin that moved the drugs out of the way.
Because
it was his plan.
Yeah, it was his plan. Because he didn't want the inn to be investigated. He was protecting the inn.
Yeah, he thought he could get Danny later down the line.
Yeah.
With his involvement.
And he did.
But he was protecting the inn. Because he told Megan and Kevin to move it.
Yeah, he knew that had the drugs been found at the inn, it just would have been years and years of investigations, and it could have shut down the inn.
It would have been years and years of heartache instead of years and years of heartache.
I know. I know.
Decisions, guys.
So how stressful was this scene where Marco is talking to John and the DEA's there? I was like, I was holding my face.
Yeah.
I knew
posted a picture of me.
I knew they were trying to make us more stressed out than we actually should have been. With the way he phrased the question.
And Marco was so
Marco played that real cool.
Yes. His eyes, everything was very questioning and concerning.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like he was being kind like a friend, like, oh man, we found this about your brother, it's this, it's that, whatever we think this is.
But on the opposite side,
the theory.
Well, on the opposite, John plays it really well that he doesn't know, and you're pinning all of this on a text message and
calls
a phone
him out.
Call. He's, it's both sides are kind of playing each other, but I think right now, no one suspects John. That's probably going to change.
I think Marco's knows a little bit more. That he suspects a little bit more because of previous conversations with John, where he's like, "What's actually going on?
You're not telling me everything."
Yeah, so he's playing it cool because the DA's there, and that's why I think he is messing with them a little bit.
And Marco's got really the inside scoop because of being with Meg. He's been around the family. He's seen a lot more in-depth information than probably John even cares to recognize at this point.
True.
I don't know if I'm with you on that, because I feel like John is 2 steps ahead on many levels. I do feel like he's done enough things to prove that he's thought of a lot of dimension here. For instance, when he turned around after that whole conversation, after he stood up and he said, how did you know he was going to show up to the peer dedication? And then Marco says, because of the seersucker suit. And of course, that was all, they staged it, Meg and everyone.
Is the sheriff, or he knows what steps a detective is going to take.
Right.
And so he has accounted for all of that.
And what's neat here to see with that scenario is that they're both sons of the same two parents. They're both the same. They're both manipulative and successful at it, but one is seen as a good guy and one is seen as a bad guy.
And that's the whole problem that Danny had. I want you to feel
Mary Lou
that.
just summed it up.
I just want you to know
Boom.
the scene.
Mic drop.
The scene where Sally arrives at the scene where she finds out that Danny's dead. I literally had an emotional breakdown during that scene. Like,
So
way to go, Sissy Spacek.
Silence.
She caused me to have tissue. Like, it was a tissue need.
Well, yeah, because
Yeah.
you're all Team Danny and all that.
All that.
No, but it was her reaction to it. Way to go, Sissy Spacek.
I know.
Icon.
It
I
brought
know.
on the yeah.
And then it just makes you think, though, like, okay, second child down. And,
Ugh, Lord.
you know,
Her husband's
was
dead.
it right? And especially with the children, like, was it intended? Like, did she have more behind her actions than we know? It's heart wrenching, but it's also sketchy. It's
Yeah,
like
'cause-
you just don't know the full story.
Yeah, when she finds out about Danny's death, she had already talked to Potts about, like, wanting to make it right.
Right.
You know, so maybe for her, she was like on this path of like, oh, I hope we find him. She's built it up because I'm going to make it up to him now. Too little, too
It's
late.
a little too late.
Girl.
Exactly. It's a little too late.
It is.
There was a few moments in this episode where they showed key props
Yeah,
or
I
key
like
there was
that.
there was key things that happened where I didn't know why I was being shown. You know, because they cut back to it. So the tequila bottle in New York, why did they do that? Why did they do that? And then
the chain on the guy's neck.
the chain on the guy's neck, and then also when Kevin goes to one of his boats or his
Yeah, the
boat
ice.
and the ice and the fish, I was like, wait a minute, am I supposed to see something in the fish?
Yeah.
You know,
It just all connects.
No, right.
Yeah.
And then of course, by the end of the episode, you realize, oh, the tequila. She drank tequila when she got back from all of her antics, and then the putting Danny on ice, and then seeing the fish on ice,
Antics
and
is a good thing to call it.
Oi!
That I was intrigued by that. It kept my interest.
And then speaking of Kevin and his interaction with Belle when she's like, so, we were reckless and eyebrows pregnant, right? And he's just like,
I gotta go.
about this.
I gotta go.
I would be so
Yeah,
I would punch him in the face.
I thought he ruined their relationship, so I was kind of happy that they were all fine and peachy at the end of the
Yeah.
episode. But I thought he was obviously this thing has ruined John. Meg has ruined her relationship with Marco.
Yep.
And so I thought, the whole relationship between Danny and Kevin and Belle was going to be ruined as well. So I was not seeing that coming, that they were going to get back together.
Who saw the whole? We got another episode with Jeremy Palco tonight.
We did.
He came on back. Hello, Jeremy.
Hi, Jeremy. Hi, Jeremy.
And so we find out that, in fact, they will negotiate him buying the marina, and it's going to be because of a loan out against the inn. I think that's going to be an interesting storyline for the next season.
I
because
totally
I think
agree.
that there's going to be something hairy with all of that.
Yeah, and
point.
totally. And it was funny because, when those other investors were interested in purchasing, Nick was such the dick, right? Like
Nick the dick.
yeah, like it was ugly and just butting heads, and was not good for Kevin. But now that they've pulled out, it's a whole different story. Nick seems totally more accommodating, and it's great. And not only that, but they're willing to take Kevin's 10% less than the original promised amount.
And the
So it's
mom
like,
says it would be fun to negotiate.
yeah.
Well, and that brings up a point. During that conversation, she says the Rayburn name still means something. And that is said during John's conversation with the guy who's pushing him for sheriff. The name Rayburn will go a long way. So it's
Until it doesn't.
Until it doesn't. But that was interesting because it's this pedestal that the Rayburn family is on.
Yep.
That the immediate family knows they can never live up to. And it's just when is the outside world going to catch up on that?
Oh, yeah.
Season 2.
Yes.
I don't know.
I think this was really more last episode, but I'm gonna bring it up now because I want to.
Okay. You do that, girl.
I'm gonna do it. So this moment was big for me because since they brought up the seersucker suits, I was thinking, well, Meg and Marco have to get married because we have to see the seersucker suit, obviously. And then here comes Mama Rayburn, and she totally steals the seersucker thunder, and she's like, let's wear the suits to the pier dedication. And as soon as she said that, I was like, that's where the suits are from. Like, for me, it was my breakthrough moment, and probably everyone had that moment, but I was excited about it because I was like, now I know!
I was like, I guess, in my mind before she said that, I was like, they must go through the wedding, because, like, you think they've broken up, that they're never going to get back together. I was like, but you see
like
that flash
suits.
forward, that you see the suits, and it must have still happened.
Yep, and as soon as Mama Rayburn said that, I was like, oh, Meghan Markle, we're done. Like, at that, it was more about Meghan Markle being done than it was even about the suits. That was my moment that solidified, like, oh, okay, that's definitely not happening.
It wasn't when Allison told us that Alec was coming back in the last episode over and over?
It wasn't. Although I did hear it over and over. I wasn't on board yet.
I was a little shocked that, or I would have maybe liked this to be done a little bit differently, that the beginning of this final episode is when we see John talking to this guy who wants to give him the sheriff job, or saying, like, if that would have maybe been building up a few episodes.
Yeah.
Because now it was like, last episode, wrap it up.
Well, I guess it's like the I can't say that word.
Juxtaposition.
Juxtaposition.
Oh, I got you, girl. I got you.
That one.
I got you.
Of him, like, being the ultimate law keeper.
Yep.
And then the ultimate law breaker.
Yep. It was like the perfect. Yeah, I'm exactly on your page with that.
Yeah.
All right.
It was like, here's this very elite offering that's coming your way, and he has to mentally manage that with all of the meltdown crap going on all around
most
him.
Opposite points of a person that could ever exist.
And like how you handle that, and how you have to, architect these layers of lies to all these people that you need to support
I don't
you.
know how he keeps it straight.
All the lies. Well, he's a good liar. We know this now.
Mind-bending.
He's a Rayburn.
Poker. He should take up poker. He'd be good at it.
He probably is. We'll probably see
he's
that
probably next season poker player. John Rayburn, the poker player.
If it says next season, you know that the writers watch this episode and they're like,
yeah, good idea. Good idea.
Yes.
Then he gets into some like mafioso stuff because he's doing like underground poker tournaments and like.
oh boy, we're getting crazy over here.
Okay, I don't think that's actually
the Keys Mafia.
Yeah, right. I'm like, I don't know if that's actually going to happen. But man, what an app!
But it was exciting.
Yeah, it was.
That's an exciting topic.
I was sad that they didn't, when he was having that conversation with Marco and I know Bill's name. What's his character's name? The DEA agent.
Clay.
I was like, Bill was sitting there. His character's name is Clay. In that whole situation, they're like, we're bringing Lowry in. I wanted to see that conversation.
We may, season 2, episode 1.
Maybe.
Who knows?
Yeah, with the flashbacks and the flash forwards.
For sure, the Lowry whole thing is not over yet.
Nope.
No. I mean, that is... And not because I looked at IMDb, everyone. I'm assuming.
But maybe a little bit?
No.
Oh.
No, I just think that there's still yet, like, so much to be covered with that. And, like, what if they give him a lie detector test about what went down? And what if he passes it perfectly? Are they going to assume that he's a master liar that just knows how to defeat a lie detector test?
He just called the contract killer to go kill Danny. We're never going to figure it out.
So you're saying that he's going to believe that Ralph got to him?
No, he could have called someone else. Lowry could have had multiple contract killers in his pocket.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Ralph's not the only killer.
Got it.
I mean, we're talking about the Keys Mafia. Come on.
True.
But then that means that Wayne sort of he almost has an alibi, or he almost will have, like, like his hands weren't a part of any of it on some, like, it won't trace. I don't know.
I think
that'll be weird. I think that'll be interesting.
Well, that's the thing. How are they going to really prove it?
Well,
and that's why
now
he says you're basing it on a phone and a text message, just because he can't go to jail because with just that.
But now that Danny's son is here,
like
Danny's son. What did Danny's son see?
Exactly.
Yeah, we don't know. That's going to be an interesting. That's going to be so
point.
interesting.
Yeah, I think
OMG.
Danny Jr. and little Janie are going to become friends and just plot against.
Janie is probably.
Marielou Mandl. Here you go. That's what we wanted.
Is my least favorite character.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who is
Janie?
Oh.
She makes me so mad.
Well, why?
Because she's just making trouble for no reason.
Well,
And the cell phone, put your cell phone down. You're at dinner with your family.
She's a teenager.
I don't care.
I feel like I was her.
Yeah.
I see nothing wrong with what she's doing. Not that it's not wrong, but just I get
It's
it.
typical teenage
yeah,
behavior. Oh,
I
she
completely
annoys
get
me.
it.
Yeah, well, because she had the attachment with Danny towards the end.
Yep.
And she's in this rebellious mode. She's going to get some information from Danny Jr. They're going to link up. They're going to kill everybody.
Whoa, prediction.
I do think that that's going to be a very interesting layer. If
Like a Rayburn massacre.
no, well,
Just
Yeah, I don't know if that's really going to go down. Everyone's a little bit sneakier
literally
than that.
everyone dies.
But I can see a little bond happening.
rift and a rift them causing.
and the we did a bad
between
thing
the
is just going to
family.
pass on through the generations.
Yeah, because that's what happened
what
with
happened?
the parents.
Yep.
That's now what's this generation of Rayburn adults and the next round.
I wonder if Danny Jr. will ever be able to find out that it really was John. Maybe he'll be the whole key in this whole thing of finding out that John really had more to do with it.
I'm
than
really-
I
everybody
think the
believes.
first conversation that John and Danny Jr., we're calling him, have is like, why he's probably going to ask, why were you at my dad's apartment? And then once the police get wind of that, they're going to be like, why didn't you?
Why were
when,
you?
When were you at his apartment?
Yeah.
Why were you there? So when you were there, you didn't notice all these drugs?
Yeah.
That's when it's going to start to unravel.
Yeah.
I do think I'm really hopeful that Lenny Potts is going to be coming back next season, and I am super, super curious as to whatever information he has for us. I do. I think I
What are
believe
the lies?
I believe in you, Lenny Potts.
He's going to redeem himself because
Lenny's
he's
got
been
some
living with
stuff
this
for
guilt
us.
his whole
He got it wrong
career.
the first time, and he's not going to get it wrong this time.
That's what I'm
He's not-
saying.
yeah, he's
I
trying to
feel-
redeem himself specifically with Danny.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I feel there is a lot more that Lenny's going to offer us.
How many predictions did we just do just now, by the way?
That was basically predictions.
Like, that whole thing was...
Sorry, Marissa, we jumped the shark.
I see what you did there, Kate. We jumped the shark.
I planned that.
Way to
So
go.
clever.
So clever.
So clever,
What am I going to
ladies.
do without you every week? Oh, my God. OMG. Yeah. I don't know. What else? Are we missing anything with this episode? This very beefy McBeef episode?
I think we got it. Season 2, I hope. Is it? It's official.
Yeah, this is official.
It's official?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought so. I just don't want to.
I wish we had a date.
Yeah. I don't
need a date.
Honestly, I think it's going to be sometime 2016.
For
Yeah.
sure.
It probably will parallel maybe when we started
Yeah.
this one.
Yeah, it was a spring, like March.
Yeah, March-ish.
Right?
Yeah.
Yes.
I vote next year we do them quicker.
We do them
Because
quicker?
We need to binge watch.
Yeah, I mean, because we could not be part of society.
No, we
And I'm
couldn't.
happy to rejoin you, society.
We want to be back for season 2, and we want to make it less terrible for everyone to have to follow along.
Yeah.
Mostly for us.
Yeah.
It was tough.
I don't know. I think we do. I commend
Alison's
us. I don't know. I commend.
Alison's
Yeah,
trying.
I commend
and we
all of
never,
us.
nobody skipped forward.
I
No.
never skip forward.
We were all very
We were
well behaved.
solid.
We were well
Iron
behaved.
willpower.
We stuck with it.
And here's the thing.
team.
I have to say, in our favor, everyone that binge watched it had to wait that much longer for season 2, whereas now we just finished, which is we have a little less
shortened
time.
the gap.
Yeah, we shortened the waiting period.
true.
Not by much,
little bit.
but we did.
Just
Yeah.
By about 12 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah, no. Yeah, well, maybe,
And
yeah.
6 days.
You're right. You're
There we
yeah,
go.
well said. Okay.
Well done, ladies.
Great
This
season,
has
gang.
been so
High
exciting.
fives.
After
I know.
showing with you ladies.
Bloodline.
I know. Bloodline. Team
Yeah.
Bloodline.
Team
Yeah.
Bloodline. I
hope
cannot
they get all
believe
the
it.
Emmys.
Yes. Please interact with us during the downtime
Yeah.
until season 2. Chat with us. We love to hear from you. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Tell us about our thoughts. What do you think of our predictions? What are your predictions? Definitely interact with us. #ABTV Bloodline. And
Who's going to win the Emmy? I want to know what you think.
Ben Mendelsohn. That's
Well,
our vote.
but other people, I know there's been a lot of conversation on YouTube. There's plenty of other deserving actors on that show that I think will also get nominations.
I think so,
I really
too.
do. I truly think it'll be a disservice
It's an
if they
amazing
don't.
show. It's been an amazing season.
Yeah.
I can't wait for season 2.
We should have a Winos and Onesies Emmy party.
Love.
Gene, yes.
Let's do it. And then we should also coincide that with a show.
55 seconds
Yeah,
with
yeah,
Marielou
something,
Mandl.
But
something.
mine will be much shorter.
55 seconds before the Emmy show begins.
Yeah,
Okay.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love
it's
it.
good.
This is fantastic. This
Okay.
is all going down.
More predictions.
All right. Even more predictions.
Yeah.
So see you guys next season.
See you guys next season.
Let's wait. We have to tell everyone where they're going to follow us.
We do. We're getting there.
Oh, okay. I didn't know. I was like, are we just closing? Okay.
We're done. See ya.
Yeah, I know. I was
See
like,
ya.
bye. Okay.
I am Blake V. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Blake V Media.
Yes, I am Alison Dean. You can find me everywhere at the Alison Dean, and also on our YouTube show, Winos
and Onesies. Check it out.
This is Kate Aquillano. You can find her on all social media at Kate Aquillano.
This is Marielou Mandl, and you can find her on all social media at Marielou Mandl. And your new YouTube series, 55 Seconds, with Marielou Mandl.
Very short. You can watch it. It's very short.
Yeah, it's 55 seconds. Our videos are, a little longer.
They're a bit more of an investment,
Yeah.
but they're worth it.
Worth it.
So tune
Hashtag
in.
worth
Thanks
it.
for
Thank you so
Thanks so much for
guys.
joining us.
See you next time.
Thank you.
Next season.
Next season.
Executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff. We would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.